o'clock. We can call to order the public safety meeting of October 10th. Can we have a roll call, please?
Alderperson Huggett?
Here.
Alderperson Mansell?
Here.
Alderperson Hammond?
Just made it. Do we have a approval of the minutes or any changes? Anyone?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Number 4, consider request to conduct Chrome and Candy Car Show event in Lakefront Park, June 27th and 28th.
I believe they're both here to discuss it.
Excellent.
Do you want to come up to the podium and introduce yourselves? And yeah, oh yeah, oh yes.
Yeah, we don't mess around.
I'm used to getting to work the room a little more. Is this on?
Yep.
It is
It is.
on.
Oh, wow.
So that people on
Very
that are
formal.
watching on TV can hear you.
Oh, we're on TV.
Yeah.
You're on TV.
That's why I did my hair today.
Nice.
No
He
paint in
did
it.
too.
I did too,
He's
yeah.
got the spike thing going
Yeah,
too.
as long as I don't have natural paint highlights going on, we're good.
Okay. And do we have the slides somewhere as well?
They're looking at them. They have them in front of them. So.
Okay. Sounds good. So I'm Stacy Deppner, and this is Jeff Allison. Just a little background on us. I'm a business management consultant, and Jeff does like custom car design and T-shirt work and things. That's why I'm representing today. We'd like to be able to put on a car show. We actually started it this year in 2013 at Treasure Island Casino, but we'd like to be able to put it on in Lakefront Park. This past year down at the casino, we had about 100 to 150 cars. So next year we expect about 150 to 250 cars. It's an event that we try to put on that really brings in all ages. So we have things going on for kids as well as adults. We're looking to have the main show on Saturday. Sorry, I don't actually have the slides with me. Saturday, the last weekend in June.
27th?
Yes, thank you. We may also need it on Friday, because what we're looking to do on Friday is have kind of a pre-party where people can come in from out of town and have some kind of dinner planned. So we want to partner with a business either in Hudson or in Lakeland. We actually live across the river. Oh, that would be great. We live right across the river in Lakeland, so we'd look for a restaurant that we can kind of partner with to put on maybe a spaghetti feed or chili feed or something like that for the residents or for the attendants, and then also maybe a band or something that night. If we look across Hudson, there's not a lot of space necessarily at a lot of the restaurants, so we might want to bring that down to Lakefront Park. So that's what Friday would be. Saturday then would be an event where we'd focus our main area around the band shell. We'd have a DJ playing music throughout the day. We want to have a Pinewood Derby, so we'd look to partner maybe with some of the Boy Scouts in town, but also put it on for adults. So we'd have, again, an age range going on there. We'd have some feature cars. This year we had a takeout tea, came from Washington State. So we'd be looking at other kind of show cars in the area that we can bring in. Let's see. We'd also, besides just cars, we want to try to draw a few motorcycles and vintage campers. Also, we think we can get maybe 25 to 50 motorcycles and 5 to 10 campers. So one of our requests is, could we have the campers actually just stay overnight so they're not having to drag their camper off somewhere?
Where would they park?
Just down in the park. We talked about maybe the flat area close to the boat landing.
Okay. You mean the parking lot that's at the boat launch?
Just in
There's
from
a
there.
flat spot there by
Between the boat landing and the volleyball courts right there. There's a
On the grass?
on the grass.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so we're looking at all the parking of the cars and vehicles would be on the grass, and we would leave the paths all open so that people can still get through, and that's where we can drive cars around to get to their spots to park.
So do we have an alternate location if we have a rainy spring and?
We talked about maybe up on the hill, up by the bowling alley.
Okay.
We could move cars up there.
I'm just worried about the big campers if we, for some reason, have
Oh.
a rainy spring and
Yeah,
digging
these
up
would
the
be
grass
tiny.
at the park.
Yep, the vintage campers, we're sorry.
They're like the-
The vintage campers we're looking at are anywhere from like 14 to 17 feet usually.
Oh, okay.
Like the neat
They're the
little
little-
aluminum trailers.
Little
Oh, yeah,
Shastas.
yeah, yeah,
Like
okay.
classics, not like big motorhome.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, these would just be more the show campers that if they're coming down anyways, can we just let them stay
Okay.
overnight?
Yeah,
Okay.
these are like little vintage, neat little
Okay.
trailers.
Historically, we've had a lot of high water that time of year.
That's
With-
what I'm worried about.
Like the last 4 out of 5 years, it's been, for whatever reason, we get a lot of rain in June, so the water, we've even had the boat ramp closed a couple times at
Oh,
that
yeah.
time. So just so you're aware of that, it's kind of a awkward time of year for that particular spot.
That's why I asked about an alternate location, because you might be having to look at that.
Yeah.
Or,
Does-
or my other suggestion would be if you want that, maybe a different date, like end of July or something, might be a little more, it's usually safer and drier and kind of a better time for lakefront anyway.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, we're not 100% stuck to that date. The hardest part is trying to get around other car shows throughout the Midwest. Because we actually do draw people from Chicago area all the way down to like Kansas.
Sure.
And
So
just
if later,
around.
if July doesn't work, because that's a good suggestion, then think of an alternative location, because I have a good feeling you might need it.
Okay.
So,
I was concerned about that. Thank you. Yeah, we'll consider.
Or just the south end of the park, south of, no,
Over by the picnic tables and,
everything north of, what's?
Yeah,
Locust,
is it
I'm
usually
sorry.
dry up by the band shell?
It
That
is.
section.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Walnut and north, usually that's a much drier spot.
I
Yeah.
just don't know
Yeah.
where they would keep, in June, where they would keep those. Because the beach house,
Sure.
it's busy up there. It's busy everywhere,
I think
but,
part of what we're talking about too is a very minor
okay.
aspect of it.
Sorry, you can continue, my fault.
Oh, thank you. No, it's good.
And
Good to
just
know the
acknowledge
concern.
Motorcycles would actually be a vintage type,
Yeah.
motorcycles as well, not like biker gangs or something like that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not looking for the Harley guys, which we like that too, but there's a lot of things we like, but we have to try to keep our market segment a little bit defined. So we actually focus on more of the traditional customs and traditional bikes
Sure.
and things like that for cars and bikes. Actually, not even muscle cars come into our show, so
Okay.
you won't get the guys that are ready to peel out as soon as they leave.
Okay.
We plan to have vendors up around kind of the area of the band shell, as well as that's, like I said, it's going to be kind of our feature section. We'll have people swapping. There's a lot of swap meets around town. I don't know if you've heard of them before, but people just come and sell their extra car parts and things like that. So it's kind of like I don't even want to call it a rummage sale, but it's a guy rummage sale. They can put out all their extra stuff. We'd be pretty strict about what is let in and what's not. At some of the swap meets, people come in with a lot of new stuff or just junk stuff, and we'd be very strict because there's not a ton of space there to allow them. But if you look at the slide with the first layout, it's little purple dots. I'm thinking if we keep them along that area where they can just park right next to where they're swapping, then they can easily unload their cars and get things set up.
Okay.
And the next layout slide then is that lower section. So one of the other activities we'd like to do as part of this is some pedal races. So the little kids, we actually have some donated pedal cars from Speedway Motors that we would have the really young ones be able to kind of do a side-by-side race down the pier, all the way up to adults with vintage bicycles. Those bicycles are another kind of fun attraction to come to the show. We do want to talk also to some of the vintage boat clubs around and try to get at least a couple of boats maybe tied up along the tie-ups in that lower section. I have a few contacts there. We can try to get some people in. And that, again, that would be like the old wood boats or old fiberglass boats, things like
Okay.
that. And again, this whole section would be kind of overflow for parking for everything. And then the beach party. The beach party was one thing that really differentiated our show from other shows around the Midwest and anywhere really. It was a huge hit last year, so something that we want to do again. Marty and Deb and I and Tom have been talking, and we know we can't do it down necessarily at the pier or on the actual beach, but we're thinking about maybe either bringing in sand and putting it kind of out in front of the band shell area, or doing the beach party down at the sand by the volleyball courts. So wondering if there's any concern either way for either of those locations to have a couple of bands play, as well as we might do a little skit competition or a pinup contest.
So let's say you bring in sand.
What's
Let's say you bring in sand. How does it get cleaned up?
We'd lay down plastic,
Tarps.
is what I'm thinking, tarps or something. Yep, lay them down, and then
Because we're going to be
Get all
conducive
backed
if
up.
you're going to have the DJ and then have them down by the volleyball courts, because then it's kind of, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
then that makes it a little easier down there. We don't have to take things in and out. And the other thing is the one area we talked about also for maybe having a flamethrowing contest is at the boat dock, at the landing too. So that would be happening right before the beach party anyways, so people would be down there, and then we could just set up the bands to keep everyone down on that south side later in the evening.
And we'd have to barricade that area and to keep, if it's busy, I mean, flame throwing.
Assuming that the boat ramp's open, it's going to be packed.
Yeah,
I mean, this time of year, I mean, it's one of the busiest boat ramps around here. So,
That's why I'm saying we'd have
and
to
at that
barricade.
time of night, people are either trying to get on and off the water on a Friday night. So that's going to be kind of tricky. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just think that spot's very, very busy a lot.
Is there a good time? Like, once it's dark, are people pretty much in?
They're
Or is
still
it
going in and
slower?
out.
Well, it will slow down about between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. It doesn't get as busy as it would be
Well,
normally.
it stays dark. It stays light out till like 9:30
But if,
or
if
10.
they
You know,
barricade an area,
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
true.
just be free reign anyways with people walking around. You're going to have to barricade an area.
you don't want to be
for it.
flaming boaters.
Right,
so.
right. You're gonna have to-
And the idea was for them to get in between the two docks near the water.
yeah,
The concern we had is that they obviously would leave marks on the asphalt or concrete,
yes.
or it would burn up the grass. So that's the reason that we said, if you're going to possibly do this, do it down by the boat landing.
Do we have to have some fire on call? I mean,
My question is, talk to me about the flame throwing.
Well, cars, actually I have pictures. The last slide is
anybody have a charger?
pictures of the couple of cars around the Midwest that
No.
do it quite a bit.
They come out of the exhaust, or is that what
It
you're
comes
talking
out of the exhaust, yep.
Do you have that slide you could show them? I don't.
She might have it on. Do you have it on yours?
It's on that updated one.
Yeah, why don't you
Dave
show
doesn't have it, the
Dave?
fire
Oh,
inspector.
yep, here you go.
about? See what this.
Does anybody have a charger?
The one on the far right,
I hope the one on the far right we're not talking about.
that one is from Wisconsin. He wants to come to the show.
Maybe we should
But
keep one in
he
there.
is the most
idea.
extreme that I've ever seen. I think he is probably the most extreme there is. The one on the far left is a local guy, and he has more of what's a typical flamethrowing car. The one in the middle, he's from Chicago, might be coming to the show. He's kind of the larger size of a normal range. We would only have maybe those 3 cars, if anything.
It's a controlled exhibition is what it is. It's not really a contest.
Right. Yeah,
I would say down by the waterfront down there, if you're doing that, you got the water and stuff. I mean,
Maybe you post it all day so that those of us that would be boating would know, and then you just know that from whatever time you're going to do it, that it's temporarily going to be unavailable.
Yeah.
It's a very short exhibition.
yeah.
big undertaking.
Yeah.
Looks cool.
It is.
It's about 5 minutes.
Okay, so it's very short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to do it,
I don't.
to get everyone there set up, the most it would be, total would be 30 minutes.
Okay.
That would be the most. So again, that's to get everyone down there set up and ready
So
to
you-
go.
You've been talking to Deb and Marty.
Well, we met with them a couple of times because their idea behind this thing was much grander than I think that the council would have allowed. Especially the beach party. They wanted to have the beach party at the very end of the dike. And I knew that wasn't going to work. They wanted to sell alcohol. We knew that wasn't going to work.
No, that's not
So the version you see in front of us is what staff came up with that we thought that would be acceptable to the council.
Okay.
So, there were concerns, obviously, the cars throwing flames obviously was something that we weren't sure how that would work. Obviously, this is the first time happening, so we're not quite sure exactly how this is
Sure.
going to work out.
I think overall, I think it sounds like a great event.
If it's not, if it's very short, as long as it's in a controlled area where we have proper, equipment on hand if something goes wrong. I mean, I can't imagine you guys don't prepare for that in any other location.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
this is not your
it
first
sounds
go
like a
around.
serious
It's just
thing.
that it's
Yeah.
not you're not remaking your own wheel here. It's just that this is the first go around for us. So
Right. Yeah, these guys have done this at shows for many years. And actually, most shows don't even have fire department on hand or anything. Some of them even, way in the past, there was a show that used to go on in Morris, Illinois, and they'd just be out on the streets doing it.
Yeah, that won't work here though.
Yeah, I know. That's where we're like,
20 minutes to get through downtown here today.
yeah, we don't want to do something like that.
Honestly, the idea of doing it over the water, I think, is actually something neat that I haven't seen done before.
Yeah, it's pretty novel, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rich?
Well, we're gonna need licensing, right?
Oh yeah, licensing, insurance,
License and insurance. There's a lot of
insurance, permits.
things that have to be done yet.
Well, I know they have met with Nancy as well, and they've been given what would need to be happening with the permits and so forth, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I know they're just, like I said, this is their first go-around. They're just trying to, get their foot in the water here, so.
And you're gonna go without alcohol then?
Yeah, we figure since Pudge's is just a block up from the volleyball courts, and there's other things in the area, and people can also bring their own, which typically they like to for a car show. It's kind of, then they don't have to go anywhere.
We didn't actually originally have any intention of selling alcohol ourselves.
Right.
We were going to allow vendors to come in, but that posed a problem, so we decided just to let people do what they want to do, that they would normally do.
Right. And that part of the park is open alcohol consumption, so.
Right.
Okay. Well, we got a year to work through this. I mean, this is not happening tomorrow or next month.
Well,
Right.
the reason we're talking to you so early, and actually we're actually
No,
late.
it's good that you're talking
to launch this.
Okay, well, it's good that you're talking to us.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you want to get in the queue.
Yes.
I would
we-
seriously look at that weekend. I'm telling you, it seems like that boat ramp is closed. Oh, I'm like religiously because we get so much rain in June.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's some other date a little bit later. You're probably going to be happy that
The
because
only,
it might be sunny, but if the ramps sometimes there's water halfway up the boat ramp. So
the only other problem you run into, though, is that we start having a lot more foot races that are.
no, I
posted.
understand. I
So finding a weekend in July and August might be a problem, too.
Yeah, our hardest thing is trying to get around the other shows in the Midwest. That's really the only open weekend there is, so no matter what, if we push it into July, we're stepping on something. It's just a matter of then
Okay.
deciding what to step on.
And they have to start advertising and so forth, so that's why they're
Yeah.
in front of us today. They still have to go in front of the park board as well,
Oh,
so they still
Okay.
have. a
We would just like to change the direction our show is going as like a casino type event to a more community type event.
okay.
So
All right, Rich, anything else?
Are they asking for our approval for this, or
I don't know if
are we at
I
the?
believe that's what they're asking. They're asking for approval. If you've got some conditions you want to put on it, or.
Well, I don't want the sand in front of the band shell. It makes me a little, well,
The thing is out in front of the band shell, there's that big concrete slab that sits right there.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's still
But I
true.
think that if the sand spills over and stuff, it has to get cleaned up.
They brought it up to Tom, and I didn't think Tom had an issue with it at the time, so.
Okay, so all these issues have been brought to staff.
Been brought to
Staff
staff.
has
We've-
talked about it,
Yes, we
adjusted things.
Right. And again, they still have to go in front of the park board where
Yes.
Tom sits on that as well, so.
But I trust staff, and if they're the ones who are going to have to deal with stuff if it's, we just have to make sure the insurance and
Yeah, we have to have insurance.
So
Yep.
I'll move for approval contingent upon proper documentations such as licensing, insurance permits, barricade rental, a barricade, like if we need,
If they need barricades.
yeah, if we need
right.
barricades, making sure, because I want that all,
That'll be through Deb, yep.
I want that all in front of us, and then, should we bring it back to public safety one last time after it goes through park board, or?
How much time do you need?
As soon as we can start advertising is best. So I guess the question is even if we maybe have to work around some of the details, do we have approval to just have the show there and
Yeah,
then
that's why I'm
again?
making it contingent upon these details.
Right.
So we give if we pass this, it gives the approval, but if you don't get these details taken care of, then it reverses the approval.
Right.
But it still has to go through park board and council, so you got a couple more steps.
Why don't you just make it contingent on approval of the park board and getting the necessary permits and so forth? And once Nancy gets all that stuff, then we can bring it to the council.
Yes, that. Got that, Melanie? I had the first part, including and park board.
Okay, so that would all be before, we talked about the
Insurance.
November 5th council meeting would be the one we'd be able to be at next.
Yeah.
So we just have,
No, there's another one at the end of this month, but November 5th probably be more of a,
Well, park
'Cause I'll
board's
be
the
out of
first
town for
Tuesday
the
of month,
October
aren't
one.
they?
Already met this month.
have they?
Yeah, so it would have to be November 18th, because isn't park board the
Oh,
first
for park.
Tuesday of the month?
Marty, Deb mentioned, I don't remember if you were still there. Oh, you weren't at the last meeting. Deb and Tom were saying for park board, they might just tell them what's going on. It's just informative kind of
Well, they did.
approach. But we still have to go in front of council. She said that we would still need to go in front of to get approval.
And let's put it for November 4th.
Put it on for November 4th to make sure they have all that. And then I'll check with Tom and Deb about the park board part of it.
Okay.
Park board wouldn't meet till the 5th again, though, that's my concern.
Well, I understand that, but if he said that he would
Yeah.
talk to the park board and let them know, then I'll just check with Tom on that one.
Yeah,
I'll second it, Melanie.
November 4th, yeah. All's in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. All right, so you're going to have a couple more steps,
Yep,
possibly. Patience.
that sounds
Government is
good.
slow.
It's steady, though.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You gotta have all that back.
Excuse me, I'd like to make a suggestion that we keep a spare charger in there for those of us that don't charge our iPads
I'll let Tom, or Mike, sorry,
in between things like we should.
send him one right now.
Thank you. Okay. Our chicken ordinance attached to this issue. Okay, let's talk about chickens, shall we? I lost my page
Right.
through all this.
Find it?
It's coming. Okay, review draft ordinance to allow raising hens. Marty.
Catherine had been working on this for quite a while with a lot of input from myself, Denny, and Dave. She's taken several different ordinances and put them together, so that's what you have in front of you right now, are the recommendations from David, Denny, and myself in regards to the ordinance itself. Catherine couldn't be here this evening, so she said if you had any questions, just to, we can, move this on to the next one if you wanted to or not. I know that I had forwarded this on to the members of the Hudson Urban Chickens to have them take a look at. They're here as well. I think they want to put some feedback into this as well. I know Denny was here.
He's here, he just went out in the
He just
hallway for
went
something.
down the hallway, so, and Denny can talk about some of these issues. I think the majority of the issues we were looking at was coming into the zoning portion of it, setbacks from boundary lines, height of the coops and sizes and so forth, so.
There's a few things I'd like to discuss about adding in or expanding on possibly.
Okay.
And maybe if I missed it, I read over it quickly, but if I missed it, tell me if it's in there. The number of permits, we have to discuss a fee for the permit. We don't have in there, I know we decided it was going to be a one-year trial, so I don't know if that needs to be an ordinance, that we need to review it after a year.
Catherine had a memo attached
I didn't have a memo on my,
No, it's not here.
She did have a memo. That was one of some of the things that she discussed, that, what kind of fee are we talking about?
right,
How many, because this was going to be a trial period.
right.
If you did it, did you want to do it, how many permits did you want to give out for the first year?
I have an idea of how many I'd like to give out, and
Right.
if the board agrees, or we can discuss it, I'd like to see 15 permits the first year,
Maximum.
maximum. I'd like to, I know we discussed 5 chickens, I'm debating if it should be 4 or 5. I've gotten a lot of I've talked to a lot of people who have chickens, and actually, in the last few months, and they said 4 is plenty, but I don't know if it's a big deal to have 5. I'm not that strict on that one, but in my thought process.
About their laying capabilities. that
Right, but they would rotate them out.
Introducing one
or-
in an odd part, I think 5 is a good number.
You need the
because
odd?
You can add one in or something, yeah. based on
Okay,
what I
so
read
we'll
anyway.
keep the 5. I don't really, I wasn't stuck on that.
Based on how they produce eggs, it's
Okay.
good to have the ability to add new ones in. And
But I'd like to have it be 15 permits for the first year. I think
was
that's,
thinking more like 30, but
well, I think 15's plenty with the numbers we receive for how many people actually get chickens in per capita, with population, to see how it works out. And then the permit fees, do you want a permit per chicken? How many chickens you have? Like, you have to get a permit for each dog you have?
do they have to pass a test, the chickens?
You gotta get a permit for each dog you have.
Well, that's true, but
mean
in this
a
case,
license?
the
You
chickens.
got a license
the
for each dog you
I
have.
mean, you wouldn't.
I have to license it. If I have 2 dogs, I got to license each of them.
You have 2 cats, they have licenses, I understand.
One second. So,
I think we should just have a flat fee.
flat fee?
I'm kind of, I'm thinking the same
If you have
thing.
1 chicken or 5 chickens, you're just paying a flat fee for having chickens.
What would you like the flat fee to be?
I'd have to be able to compare this with the dog licenses or.
No, it's got to be more than a dog license.
I believe they're $5 if you pay them before.
No, $7 if you pay them if they're neutered, and 20 if they're not.
Right, but wasn't there, it goes up if you don't pay it right
You get a
on time.
$5 late fee.
Yeah. All right.
I know these things.
You've been gotten a few of those?
I didn't get the late fee, but I know the late fee. So, I was thinking more of a more like up in the $50 range for a permit.
What would is the money administrative and then just 'cause, or? I mean,
Administrative, I mean, if we're going to have to patrol and, make sure the coops, I mean, think about it. We have to deal with the construction of the coops and making sure those are correct. So we have Public Works, or we have David involved, we have the police, the safety, or the Nancy involved. We have a lot of different entities in the city involved in getting these chickens at someone's house. So yeah, we got to think about that. It's not just like you come and sign off a little sheet for a dog license and show your rabies, proof of rabies. It's a lot of review from the permit, the coop
Of those
review.
cities that have licenses, is there some sort of fee that we know about that they charge?
Let's bring up chicken people.
Should we?
Jen, or who wants to talk?
Go together.
Okay, go together. Go ahead, pass them out if you want, and the names and
Sure.
addresses, please.
Heather Matthews, I'm at 927 8th Street.
Okay.
We just want to reiterate, the number 5 is really nice. It allows us to start with like a flock of 3, and then in a couple years add 2 more. It's good to add them 2 at a time. If we do 4, we're adding singles, and you have all kind of behavior issues that can happen with some of the chickens lower on the pecking order.
Okay. I think we settled on 5, we're good, so.
Yeah, okay. The 15,
Oh, yeah,
for the initial 15.
that's
Yeah,
good.
isn't that a suggestion you made to me, was 15?
I mean, we don't think that there'll be a flood, a huge flood of people coming in. I think that should cover the people that want to do it, that are willing to try it out and test it for the year.
Okay.
Well, I guess my only thing would be that if we get 15 and another 5 want to do it right away, I mean,
Well,
Well,
let's use
the same-
15 as a guide, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, the same thing
so
with
what are-
mooring fees and everything else, you get a waiting list.
Stillwater had 7 their first year,
Got it.
so.
So I think 15 is fair.
Okay. fair
Yeah,
enough.
we are not anticipating that there's going to be 50 people lined up at the
No,
door.
I'm gonna,
So just with the history of other ordinances in other cities,
Okay.
we felt that that was fair. What we would like to talk about is the maximum height of the coops. Right now, I think in the ordinance, or the draft ordinance, it's set at 6.5 feet. We would actually like that raised up to 8 feet for the sole purpose that it can be raised off the ground a little bit, so it's not sitting on the ground. It can be built on 4x4s. And also said if you have a gentleman that is like 6 feet tall or a little taller, they're able to get in there and clean. The hygiene and the cleanliness of the coop is really important to us. We want to make it really easy for people to get in and out. A height of 8 feet also allows you to use a standard door in the construction of the coop, which would be 6 feet 8 inches.
1 second, Heather. Denny, do you know the maximum height for fencing around yards is at 6 feet? Without having to get a permit or a exception? That would be my concern, Heather, is that.
We have it here.
Yeah, we've copied part of the Hudson ordinance.
Any residential fence would have maximum 6 feet of height, correct?
So
Okay,
you're saying you don't want to be able to see the coop next door?
yeah. I'm saying that some people might not want to see the coop next door. So you either have to raise your fence and get a special exception, or
Wouldn't it look just like a shed or something?
I don't know, I'm just saying,
I'm
I'm
just
just
asking.
considering all, all
I hear what
aspects
she's
of
saying,
this.
and here it says that shall either be 24 inches between the ground and the surface, you're already up 2 feet.
I read this, you're already at 8.5 feet.
Yeah, the ordinance is written that you're at 8.5 feet.
I thought it was a total of, and the height of the coop shall not exceed 6 feet 6 inches.
The coop itself, but not the,
So you're saying that it's 24 plus the 6 feet, so it's 8 feet 6 inches?
No, it says from the ground to the top.
No, that's not the way it's intended. Intended overall height was 6 feet 6 inches.
total.
Maximum height.
Including the 24-inch space from the bottom? Correct. You have airspace of 2 feet.
So it's a 4-foot high coop.
Correct.
We would also like to point out that the maximum roof height for storage of tool shed is 12 feet. So if the storage height, or if a storage shed can be 12 feet, that's going to stick quite a ways up above any fence line too.
On the drive here, we were actually driving through downtown, and it almost looks like every yard has a big storage shed. Some of them even have little porches or playhouses that are bigger than storage sheds. So, it looks like there's a ton of them out there.
So anyways, we would like that to be considered, just mostly for ease of keeping it clean, keeping
Yeah.
them nice,
To be
making
able to
it,
stand in and,
ma-
clean.
make
Well,
it,
as it reads here now, it's a 4.5-foot tall coop.
The shed's
So
a good argument.
I'd have to climb into it.
12 feet is 12 feet.
I'll give you the shed being a good argument. If it's going to look like a shed,
Yeah. That's.
They'll be
is that
cuter than
correct?
sheds.
They'll be a lot cuter
Right?
than sheds.
it's a reasonable argument. It makes sense.
Is there,
There's some ugly sheds out there.
Yeah, we're not going to, yeah.
well,
So we'd have to consider 2 more feet onto the coop, added to the coop height. Because if you're saying the coop is 4 feet, we'd have to be a 6 feet coop and 2 feet off the ground. That's
why
8
does the
feet.
coop need to be 2 feet off the ground?
It actually said that if you do it on the ground, that it just has to be on concrete or pressure-treated wood, so it doesn't rot or decay. So if someone doing a raised coop, it has to be 2 feet off the ground. But as I read it, if you're doing a walk-in coop, which is what I would be interested in, a lot of people, it just has to be on either a concrete slab or the pressure-treated.
Yeah. It seems more ideal that it wouldn't be a raised coop. I
Yeah.
mean, if you guys are discussing ease of cleaning, why
Right.
would you raise your coop?
Right.
Well, there's air ventilation, in some concepts, you put the
Yeah.
coop up, you get air ventilation.
Oh,
Okay.
sure.
So like when it's hot out or, it's okay. So we're saying,
So we don't want the wind to
I've
blow
read
the
this and
wrong
I
way, or-
apologize, but I guess I was a little confused. So I can either have a raised coop or I can have a walk-in coop.
Yeah.
And they're both right now saying there can only be 6 feet 6 inches tall. Is that right?
So
Yes.
maybe if we want to consider that coop pipe, the ordinance should say something like, if raised, it would be raised no more than 2 feet off the ground, and the coop would be no more than 6 feet 8 inches in height, wait, Denny's
There's
stopping me.
a potential compromise. I mean, if you want to put the, you know, I asked the city attorney to add a separation of terminology, coops and runs.
Okay.
Run is an enclosed area, typically at ground level, if it's 6 foot 6 inches high, most men are going to be able to fit in that to clean it. If you raise the coop, which is the structural part of it, 8 feet, I think that's possibly workable. So.
Got that?
Now, we're suggesting is go to public hearing, so I mean,
Yes.
it's a draft until,
Right,
Yes.
right.
you know.
It has to go to public hearing, yeah, we have
It
to take it
doesn't
to
have
public
to,
hearing.
but we're
No,
suggesting it goes to public
I wouldn't vote for it unless it went to public hearing is my point. Like, I would want it to go to public hearing. Yeah, thank you, Denny, that's a good.
So raised can be 6 foot 6.
Would it be
The
easier
ground would be-
if you just said that the overall coop height can't exceed 8 feet?
That's correct.
No matter
Yes.
what, you know, the overall coop height can't
Yes.
exceed 8 feet.
Yes,
Correct.
that would work perfectly. You're so smart. You should be up here.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. That works.
From a draft standpoint, yeah.
All right, so that was one of your concerns. Was that your?
We are also asking that the run size account for 10 square feet per chicken, which would be a maximum of 50 square feet, 5 by 10, for example, for the enclosed run size. With the limitations on the coop size, we want to make sure that the birds have enough area to exercise in an enclosed run. And if you look at some of the other ordinance from Prescott, Stillwater, New Richmond, Maplewood, they all have a minimum square area of 10 square feet per bird for the enclosed runs.
So if your yard isn't that big, it's just automatically reduced?
Yeah. Less
Because you have to have setbacks still, too.
Usually, I mean, everybody or every coop I've seen, the run is attached to the coop. So like the coop that I want to build, the roof literally goes from the coop to the run, so that the run is covered for the winter, so they can go outside in the winter.
So let's just pretend the podium's the coop. Where is the run? It's around it?
Like right in front.
And
It's attached so that the chickens can come out of the
Yeah.
coop,
Come
go
out
into
there,
the run.
Go back and then go back into
Yep.
the coop? Okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's like having
Need a
an outdoor
visual.
dog kennel totally
Right.
closed for your dog with a dog house.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Kind of the same concept. So we would like that to be considered.
Is there a run on this picture anywhere?
In one of them, sorry for the horrible print.
Oh, here it is.
You figure out that.
I just picturing it in my head.
Okay, I got
Like
it.
chickens running around. Sorry. Okay. Was the number determined by Catherine via other ordinances, or if we have, she just named like 5 of them that have it at 10 feet, so.
I have no
The
idea.
information I had was didn't suggest runs being that large.
Okay.
So we suggested what's a technical information that was submitted to us. So, and, you know, we based off of, I mean, I guess the question is how large you want these overall facilities
Right.
to be. The larger the run is, you know, the coop, the larger area is going to take in a yard area.
Well, and again, that's determined somewhat by the size of the lot and the setbacks, right? I mean, that you can, like, I don't think my lot I could
You're going to
have,
have a maximum coop area and a maximum run area.
right?
So you're only going to have a certain maximum size no matter how big the lot is.
Right. What if not if it impedes on the setback, though?
Pardon?
If it impedes on the setback that we set,
It's not going to get permitted.
right.
We would also like to point out that in Hudson, the ordinance for dogs, the minimum pen enclosure is 140 square feet, so it'd be like 10 by 14 feet for an enclosed dog pen outside, like an outside dog kennel. So just as a comparison.
So this would be smaller than that.
Denny, you did your research. Denny's pretty diligent in his research, that's why.
Well, we went around, I mean, we've had several, there is some information is provided that suggested maximum runs, maximum coops, and I went to the maximum level on both of them.
Okay.
my suggestion to Catherine, actually increase the size of the coop beyond what my maximum was suggested. And I think the run also was expanded.
Well, okay, I think I agree with raising the coop size, but maybe we should, I think I like to keep the run the same size as Denny suggested.
What, okay.
I mean, Denny's been doing more.
No, I understand, I just.
More in-depth research and.
You just, for final, what is the exact size of the run then?
5 square feet, 5 feet, square feet per chicken.
No, right now it's written as 40 square feet for the run.
Oh, so.
We were
We'd like to bump it 10
asking for
feet.
10 square feet, so like
8 square.
So you were looking
one
for 50
extra
square
foot
feet.
if it's
yeah.
5 feet wide.
I see.
We would also like to point out that the less concentrated you have that run, if you have chickens out there using the yard, the smaller the run, the more concentrated the space is, the more concentrated everything is going to be inside that run. And if you give them a little bit more room, things are able to spread out as far as talking about any chicken waste that might be in the yard too. So having it just a little bit bigger is just going to make it just a little less concentrated.
You're talking about a 2 foot long
yeah.
area. I mean, you're going from 4 by 8,
Right,
40
not much
square
bigger.
foot to 5 by 10, which is
Right.
50. So I mean,
Yeah, it's not that,
It's 5 by 8 or 5 by 10 is the difference that we're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not that big for, I thought it was 5. That's, but yeah,
I don't
that's
have a problem
fine.
with that
I don't have a problem with that either, 2 feet.
Okay.
Okay, so we have that change to put in.
And then we would like to talk about supervised free-range time in an enclosed yard that has a fence. That we request that supervised free-range time be allowed within the owner's yard as long as the owner's yard is fenced. This will provide foraging for the chickens, which is a natural behavior. It will also help with bug and weed control within the yard, and in general, it just makes a happier pet. We are not requesting that they be allowed to run at large, to be run in your yard unsupervised. But we would like to have them be able to go into our gardens and go into our flower beds within our enclosed backyards and forage while we are there supervising.
Okay. Do you got a leash for them?
Yeah, I was gonna
We have a
say.
leash law.
A leash, no leash. Can't leash a chicken.
We have leash laws, you know. Anyone have a problem with that?
I do not.
Rich?
Yeah, I'm not real crazy about chickens running around. I'd have to be opposed to that.
Okay.
Put them in the runs, put them in the coops, but I don't want to see them running wild in the yards.
I'm kind of half with you there because I've seen some in North Hudson running, and somehow they end up in the front yards. Some people in North Hudson.
Well, you have to remember, too, that in North Hudson, there's not an ordinance that states that they can't be in the front yard, and there's a very popular coop in North Hudson where the run is in the front yard.
Yeah, I know.
So, we're hoping that the ordinance stated the way it is made very clear that they are not to be in side yards, they're not to be in front yards.
And only fenced yards, and only if you're with them.
But even fenced yards, I mean, how is the fencing? I have the little dog that gets through the neighbor's fence. I mean,
We're interested in the bugs and sticking close. They don't wander from each other.
what if you get a crazy chicken or something?
They're flock animals. They tend to stay together. There's safety in numbers for them. They're only prey. They're never predator.
Yeah.
You're not. If you have a lone chicken that runs off, usually on a farm, it doesn't last very long. As far as noise goes, they're much quieter than dogs. We have neighbors' dogs that, they're in their yard all the time, running through the fences, barking at everything. Chickens don't bark. The waste isn't as much as it would be for a dog. So if you're comparing it with some of our other animals that we're allowed to have under supervision in our yards in Hudson, the chickens are very unobtrusive. Let's not even go there with cats, who you can't even keep in a yard.
Okay.
And,
Let's say that we've compromised with 2 of the 3 because I think if we push it, it might not get through council.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
because I don't know how others in council feel. And,
Okay.
some of us have changed our minds, as you know, but I don't
Sure.
know about others. So,
Well, and we
Maybe it's
appreciate.
an enhancement from after the trial
maybe after the
period.
first year trial,
Sure.
we can revisit that.
We so appreciate just your consideration and just hearing us out. So,
I'd be willing to reconsider it after the first year trial,
okay.
that situation.
Okay. The last thing we'd like to talk about is the setbacks. It was brought to our attention that the setback right now from the lot line is drafted to be 10 feet, but the setback from any adjacent neighbors' dwellings, patios, decks would be 25 feet. We would like that to be changed, that the setback be 5 feet from the lot line, but 30, which would be 30 feet from a residence, only because the 10 feet make it impossible for some of the people that have smaller lot sizes to be able to have a coop at all. And some of those people are the people that, you know, their finances aren't very high. They can't afford these big lots. And this is a way for them to bring in organic, chemical-free food with, you know, without spending the expense of having to go to the organic store. And we realize that the money isn't always a big thing, but we hate to think that there's going to be residences that are pushed out of the ordinance over 5 feet, when we know the big concern is having them be far enough away from a residence so that it's not bothersome to a dwelling.
Can I say something? A lot of other ordinances, many of them state that the setback from the property line to the coop is, in some cases, only 18 inches or 2 feet. I think in St. Paul, it's 2 feet. The biggest thing is the setback from the coop to adjacent dwellings and patios and decks. And if it's 5 feet, you're still at least 30 feet away from anyone's deck or house. Or
So what if you have a house all around your backyard, a house on each?
you would still have to abide by that 25-foot setback from someone's house or deck or patio. We're not asking for that to change at all.
But I don't see how that would, maybe I'm confused. The setback is from a lot line already, so I don't understand how we reduce.
It's 10 feet, not 5 feet, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
But it's 25 feet from the property of another person.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, if I recall, trees are how many feet from a lot line when you plant a tree?
Sheds, I think, are 5 feet.
Sheds are 5.
Sheds are 5.
There's actually sheds on lot lines.
Yeah, but those are illegal. I mean,
No,
so
I
you're not
know.
gonna-
I've got sheds and 3 feet typically.
And a pool is 10 feet, right, from a lot line?
And it also has to be fenced, so you have to be
Fenced.
and so forth.
Yes.
But if you have if the ordinance is written to be 25 foot from houses, patio, that, so you measure from that to the coop area.
Mm-hmm.
That includes the 5 foot or 10 foot setback area also.
That's what I'm saying, so I don't understand what
Yeah,
the difference
okay.
is. Because if you have houses on all sides of you, that was my confusion. You're already crossing over that setback as it is.
But not all lots have homes that butt up right close to the lot line. I mean, some of the houses are back. We would just like there to be the option.
That extra 5 feet to be closer to the lot line. You would still have to have the 25 feet. But then it's like also aesthetically having a coop where you can landscape around it so it doesn't look like it's in the middle of your yard for people who have small yards.
I don't have a problem with it.
I'm staying with 10 feet.
I'm kind of thinking that too.
Well, like
Again, can
in
we
my
not push
yard,
this
I
right
have, I have, my neighbor's house is probably, it's not quite there, it's about 30, but I've got a fence on the side.
Are we requiring fencing or if they have chickens? I don't remember seeing that either.
No. That's not.
There has to be, the chickens have to be
In an
obviously
enclosed
easy
coop.
enclosed
Chickens
coop.
are, but you don't necessarily need a fence.
Unless they're going to run them around, which we're not doing right now. Okay, so can we visit that again too? Or is it going to require having to move a coop and we're going to have issues then?
It would
That
be
was
moving
the
coop?
thing that we were concerned is that there's some people that we even know in our group that
But-
wouldn't be able to with that
But
10
those,
foot,
but then they could wait till next year.
but not if it doesn't change. And I would, for me too, I mean, I plan to do a walk-in coop concrete foundation, you know, to do something that's, I mean, not cheap. And it would be nice to know ahead of time,
Yeah.
versus moving it.
I don't know if I can budge off the 10 feet either.
I frankly don't see how it makes a difference. A shed can be, what,
3 feet.
3 feet, so.
But a shed's not harboring animals.
You're still 25 feet from people, or you'd be 30 feet from people.
I mean, we can compare shed so much as far as height and stuff, but once you're talking about harboring animals,
Is there something in an ordinance about like an enclosed dog kennel? What that has to be a setback from a property line? Like if you have a big outdoor dog run?
That's under the animal control. I enforce that.
Dave, do you know?
Off the top of my head, I don't. Usually we don't have too many dog runs because people walk dogs.
Right.
Dogs running around too much.
Yeah, we have a couple downtown that are like butted up to, I mean, our fence, they're right there. So it would just be interesting to see. I mean, if it's, you know, I guess,
I just don't want to push this because.
yeah, we would like to see it pass.
I'd like to see, exactly.
I'd like to see
When I
it
say
pass.
pass, let's not push it. I can understand the coop height
Sure.
for cleanliness. I can understand making the run a little larger, but let's not push
Okay.
you know, let's not push it. Because right there, if Rich doesn't agree, there's one vote no when
Yeah.
it goes to
Okay.
council, you know, right? And we're down to council members, so there's no tie-breaking votes right now. So let's not push,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
So were those all the changes?
They were. I think that those were all just the recommendations that we had. And we just want to say thank you for all your time that you put into this and listening to our concerns and taking them into consideration.
Thank you for
So,
all your work and helping to educate us.
You're welcome.
So I'll move for approval based on the changes we agreed upon,
We
which
never
is,
settled on a fee that you
Oh,
still want $50
fee.
or $25 or $40.
I'd like 50 or personally high. I mean, I'd go as high as 75. Oh, go ahead, Jen.
Sorry. I was going to say too, in the Hudson ordinance, it stated, I believe it was either a tool shed or a dog kennel, that if they're under 140 square feet total, they don't need a building permit.
We're talking the.
No, so I was taking that into account for administrative fees, that if a coop is under, a certain size, I mean, a lot of cities, you don't need a building permit
Right, but
for
the coop
the
itself is
coop.
still going to have to get approved through.
Right, I just
there's
wanted
still
to throw that
fees.
out there.
The intent of administrative fee is to review the applications, be able to go out and confirm compliance. I suggested $35 and a $7 or $10 renewal fee. Some communities are as high as $75 for review and, $15 on an annual renewal.
Okay. I would like to see $50 and then $20 annual renewal.
I can live with that.
Just, okay, that's the number you pulled out, or?
I actually was thinking $75 when I came in, so I've brought my number down.
And Danny, for the renewal thing, is there, you go back out and then take a look, or this just?
Okay, we would review the application, make sure the application's in conforming, they're showing their site plans, things are conforming. And we'd also have to go out and confirm that once it's up, that it's in conformance also. So you probably have at least an hour time,
Yeah, for sure.
minimum an hour time.
And what about the renewal time for the following?
Well,
year?
typically, if the renewals come in, we'd go out and just make sure that they're in compliance.
Okay,
If
fair enough.
remained in compliance, but it's going to be a minimum effort. And if you have 6 of them, you're probably going to do that all in one day. So it's going to be like
So that sounds
15
fair
minutes
enough.
per.
Totally.
So,
Thank you, Denny.
yeah.
So we'll put a permit fee of $50 for the initial startup and $20 renewal fee. A 1-year trial, 15 permits. We've increased the coop size to 8 feet maximum. And we increased the run another 2 feet,
10 square feet,
10 square feet,
250 total.
to 50 total square feet. Everyone agrees on those changes. I'll make a motion with those changes added in.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it'll go back to Catherine for a redraft and, yes.
Thank you.
Was there discussion on the number of PERS, or was that?
We're keeping it as 5, which is there's 5 already in the ordinance. So does it come back to us, or is it going to go to council after Catherine redrafts? It'll go to council for first reading, so whenever, I don't know when she'll get it done.
We'll have to get it to her right away so she can work.
Probably November 4th meeting as well?
Possible. It depends if she doesn't have it ready, then it'll be November 4th.
Okay. So there's a possibility of October 21st, but there's a good chance it's November 4th, depending on what Catherine has on her plate. All right? Thank you. Okay, we got a boogie. All right, let's boogie. Geez.
Can we do the signal?
I don't have anything with FEMA being in town.
Okay, let's pass the signal. Consider request to establish police satellite office in Hudson Middle School.
Real quick, the school district had approached me in regards to possibly having a satellite office at one of the schools located in the city, something similar to what Jordan, Minnesota does. We've decided on doing something at the middle school. There would be they've got an office that's right off of the main entrance on the south side of the building. They would provide the office, the desk, the phone. I just have to provide the computer and the printer to be used down there. They're going to give us a file cabinet. We would have a key to the office. We can get in there when we need to. The benefit for us is I get an office up on the hill that my officers can use instead of everybody having to come downtown to use their computers. I can keep somebody up on the hill area. They get the benefit of having a police car or an officer at the school from time to time, obviously working on reports, but being there in case something should happen. One of the other benefits of this is they're going to give us a marked spot for our squad cars out front so that, we'd be able to park there without having to try to find another parking spot. I thought this was a good option to bring forward. I don't anticipate it being a lot of money. And like I said, they would give us the benefit of having a satellite up on the hill area so we don't have to have all my officers downtown.
Perfect. Do you need anything from us, or?
Just approval to do it.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it. I like the idea.
Those in favor?
No. Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving on. The crosswalk, can we push that to next month?
Yep.
Let's push the crosswalk to next month. It's not that dark out yet. Sirens, we don't have anything yet. Push that to next month. And the grass cutting.
If you want to, we can push that to next month as well.
Yeah, because we don't need to cut grass right now.
Right.
I think that should go to Public Works. It's a Public Works budget, and the Public Works Department is currently cutting those.
Well, it's under
No,
our jurisdiction for
it gets charged to their
inspection.
taxes, so it doesn't affect their budget.
Well, if you change to a contractor, it will affect his budget, because today he does it within the current budget he gets, but he gets reimbursed for the grass cutting he does. If you start contracting it, he doesn't get any reimbursement now because you're paying the contractor.
Okay.
So it will have some impact on his budget.
So you'd like to push this over to Public Works is what you're saying then?
Yeah, because Public Works is cutting those I understand Public Works is cutting the vacant lots now, right?
I believe so, correct.
So,
Well, our compliance officer determines if they need to get cut, though.
but Public Works is doing the cutting.
The whole idea of this was that I wanted to get it out of Public Works' hands because they haven't got the time, effort, and personnel to do the lots if need to be cut. So if they need to, for a vacant house that could be vacant for a while and needs to be cut, let's say, a dozen times in the summer months, and then tying up Public Works, contract it out to a service, then that contractor's service charge would go on the tax rolls of the people that, where that house comes under.
So the service would do it. It sounds to me it wouldn't come out of Public Works budget at all.
Right. The service would do it because there's nobody there. Public Works hasn't got the time or a number of people to do it, especially to get a lot of houses.
Today you're doing it within the Public Works budget, and Public Works is getting, or the general fund is getting reimbursed because of the tax rolls.
Right.
So for every lot you cut,
Right.
the city gets reimbursed in the general fund.
Right.
Right.
When you contract it out, that fund, the general fund will never be reimbursed, it's going to the contractor. And I don't know how much money that is, I don't know how many times we cut vacant lots, but there is some impact somewhere.
But if the contractor gets paid through the tax roll, then the contractor's will not be paid until the taxes are due?
We'll probably have to pay the contractor out
Or
of
we
the
have to
general
pay him
fund.
ahead of time, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to pay him out of the general fund and
Probably
get
have
it
to
back
pay
in
them ahead of
taxes.
time, then they'll
Right,
collect from the tax
which will
rolls and
affect
new
Public
people.
Works.
It affects Public Works.
Let's push it to Public Works. We have to, because if it's going to affect their budget, we don't have, we can't, I
And
mean,
if they decide that they think
they don't want to deal with it and want us to deal with it, then we'll deal with
then
it.
we'll
Come
take
back
care of
here.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We push it to them with the request that if they don't want to deal with it, to bring it back to safety, not to drop it,
Okay.
but to push it back to safety, just because it does affect their budget. So
We
that way,
probably have a dozen homes a year that vacate.
That's fine, but I mean, if Public Works doesn't care how we handle it, then
Fine,
let's not lose it through the shuffling back and forth, but just,
bring it back
let's
here.
make sure that Alderperson Bernard puts it on their next agenda, or, so we can decide where it's going,
Okay.
okay? We gotta be quick here, we got like a minute. So do we have,
Suggestion, the rest of these items, I think, can wait until next.
we did push them all off.
Oh, well, the informational items and stuff down there, I think, and all.
I'm probably on the old agenda. Okay, so we'll push off the informational items to the next meeting. Do we have any updates? Anybody? EMS, fire, police, anything for future agendas? Anybody? Going once, going twice?
Parking, speed survey, we'll give an updated one for Bear
We'll
Road.
do it for next, yeah, okay? And then parking's gonna go on the next agenda?
Yes.
Okay, all motion to adjourn?
Sorry.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye, we're adjourned. Good job!